Yache. Welcome back to another episode of our team helping Native entrepreneurs like you succeed on the res. Today, we're tackling a topic that's essential for every business owner, taxes. Yep, I know what you're thinking. Taxes don't sound like the most exciting topic, but stick with us and I promise we'll break it down in a way that's easy to understand. We'll even toss in a few laughs along the way. Go try. Whether you're just starting out your business or have been running one for a while, understanding how taxes work on the Navajo Nation is very important to keep things smooth and legal. So let's jump in. So first things first, why do we even pay taxes? Well, taxes help fund services like infrastructure, public safety, programs that help our communities grow stronger. On the Navajo Nation, taxes play a key role in building up our economy and supporting things like schools, roads, and public services. So, in a way, when you pay taxes, you're helping invest in our people's future. And that's a good thing, right? Now, let's talk about tax liabilities on the Navajo Nation. We've invited special guests to join Delphina Begay, founder of Water Edge Business Solutions. Delphina has over 20 years experience in accounting and financing and currently works with numerous small businesses across the Navajo Nation with accounting, bookkeeping, and financial analysis. So, welcome, Delphina.
Thanks, Racquel. Sharing my financial expertise brings me joy, especially with the Native small business owners. What businesses are liable for Navajo Nation tax payments? If your business operates within the boundaries of Navajo Nation, whether it's a small arts and craft business, a construction company, or a restaurant, you may be subject to Navajo taxes. Here are a few examples. Businesses physically located on the Navajo Nation. If you have a storefront, office, or physical location on res, you're likely liable for Navajo taxes, whether you're selling jewelry, food, or offering services. If you're doing it from Navajo land, the nation's taxes apply. Business providing services on the Navajo Nation, even if your business isn't based on Navajo land. If you perform services on the nation, like a contractor coming in to build homes, you could still be required to pay Navajo taxes. Online business. If you're running an online store in your base of operations on Navajo Nation, you may be liable for taxes, depending on where your customers are located and the nature of the sales. In short, if your business activity touches Navajo land, whether physically or through services, you should check with the Navajo Tax Commission to make sure you understand your responsibilities. Don't worry, it's better to ask now than be surprised later with a bill.
Now, let's talk about the types of taxes you, as a business owner, might need to know about. The Navajo Nation has its own tax system that applies to businesses operating within the nation's borders. So here are the big ones you'll want to be familiar with.
The first one is the Navajo Business Activity Tax, or the BAT for short. This is tax on your business gross receipts, which basically means all the money your business makes before expenses, whether it's from selling goods, providing services, or any other kind of business activity. Think of it like a participation fee for running a business on Navajo land. But don't worry, it's not as scary as it sounds. The tax rate is typically 5% of your business gross receipts. An example is, let's say you run a coffee shop on the res and you make $50,000 in sales for the year. The BAT would be 5% of that, and so you pay $2,500 in taxes. Next, we have Navajo sales tax, which is similar to sales tax in other states or areas. This is a tax on certain goods and services sold on Navajo land, and the current rate is 6%. If you're selling goods like clothing, food, and craft, you'll likely need to charge this tax to your customers. Note that the communities of Kayenta and Tuba City have their own sales tax rate that you need to be mindful of if you're doing business in either community. But let's go through an example using Navajo sales tax. If you're selling a piece of handmade jewelry for $100 and you add 6% sales tax, so the customer would pay $106 in total. The extra $6 goes to the Navajo Nation government. Just remember, you're collecting this tax from your customer, but you're the one who's responsible for reporting and sending it to the nation. So don't pocket even if it's tempting. Other considerations. There are additional tax paid on the Navajo Tax Commission that you may be liable for, so we always recommend that you speak with an accountant who can help you navigate tax liabilities. But the last one we want to highlight is employment taxes. If you have employees, you'll need to pay taxes for things like Social Security and Medicare. These are required by the federal government, so they apply no matter where you are. Now that we covered the different types of taxes, let's talk about filing. I know it sounds like a chore, but keeping up with your tax responsibilities will save you a lot of headache later on. Using the BAT and the sales tax as an example, let's see what filing these two taxes look like on Navajo Nation. Filing the BAT. So when you're filing your BAT, you'll need to file quarterly. That means 4 times a year, just like checking in with a family member to say, hey, I'm doing great, here's my 5%. If your business made $10,000 in sales from January to March, you'll pay 5% of those sales in the first quarter filing, which would be $500. Filing quarterly makes it easier to manage, so you're not hit with one giant bill at the end of the year. The Navajo Tax Commission publishes their quarterly tax due dates on their website. The second portion is the Navajo sales tax. Sales tax is also filed quarterly. If your business sells taxable goods, you'll need to keep track of all the sales tax you've collected and submit it to Navajo Tax Commission. You will need to fill Form 600, so download the form and the instructions from the Navajo Commission website. And here's a pro tip. Keep good records. Having a clear record of what you sold and the taxes you collected makes filing easier and keeps you out of trouble. Well, what happens if I don't pay my taxes? The million-dollar question. If you don't pay your taxes, you can face penalties, late fees, and even legal actions. And trust me, you don't want to go down that road. But there's good news. If you stay on top of it, keep good records, file on time, you'll avoid those issues and keep your business in good standings. So don't forget about other taxes you might be liable for. Now, before we wrap things up, I want to remind you that taxes we've talked about today, like the business activity tax and the sales tax, are just a few of the taxes you might need to pay as a business owner on the Navajo Nation. Depending on the type of businesses you run, there could be other taxes or fees that apply. For example, if you're in an industry like natural resources or gaming, there may be specific taxes you need to be aware of. And don't forget, some taxes might come from both the Navajo Nation and the federal government. So it's important to cover all your bases. So how do you find out what taxes apply to your business? Here are a few tips. The Navajo Tax Commission website. First, check out the website. They have resources that outline the various tax businesses on the nation are responsible for. It's a great place to start, especially if you're unsure whether certain taxes apply to you. If you're still not sure, give Navajo Tax Commission a call or visit them in person. They're helpful and they can give you specific advice based on the type of business you run. The Tax Commission will also give you a liaison. Please make time to introduce yourself to your assigned liaison. Trust me, it's better to ask the experts now than deal with the unexpected fees later.
Consult with a local tax professional. Another great option is to talk to a local tax professional who understands Navajo tax laws like Delphina. They can help you figure out what you're liable for and even guide you through the filing process. Shane's Labs also has resources that can connect you with professionals if you need some extra support.
Keep up with the changes. Finally, remember that tax laws can change. What you're responsible for today might shift in the future. So it's a good idea to check every once in a while to stay up to date. This way you'll know exactly what your business owes and when. At the end of the day, staying informed with your tax obligations will help you avoid surprises and keep your business running smoothly. Plus, by paying the right taxes, you're contributing to our nation's growth and supporting the community. So don't hesitate to reach out for help when you need it.
Remember, we're all in this together, and the more we know, the better we can serve our people. Akiahet, now let's get back to work, making your business thrive.